shores of old Lake Erie stands our alma mater true. Fredonia state we proudly honor, with its colors white and blue.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of our podcast, Reflections of Fredonia. My name is Jack Roxton. I am an emeritus faculty from SUNY Fredonia. I taught in the psychology department for over 40 years. And the goal of our podcast is to interview Fredonia alumni, find out what they've been up to since graduating from Fredonia, and give them an opportunity to reminisce about some of their experiences during their undergraduate years. We are broadcasting today from the radio system run by the students here at SUNY Fredonia.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chloe Kowalik. I initially graduated from Fredonia in May 2024, and I am now back at Fredonia pursuing my Master's of Science in Clinical Mental Health Counseling.
For today's podcast, we have a very special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself by telling us your name and when you graduated from Fredonia?
Hey guys, my name is Nick Bernardone, and I graduated in 2007, although I think I lingered due to some missing credits and technically graduated in 2008. I was a slacker.
So what did you study while you were a student here at Fredonia? And when you began, did you imagine that you would be where you are today?
Yeah, so the major was called TV and digital film. I think it's since evolved into something slightly different as the world has sort of adjusted and the industry's caught up. But I also dabbled with a film studies minor, and again, because of Slacker, took just enough gym classes to end up with a coaching minor.
Well, that can always be a backup if something goes haywire with your current career.
Oh, things are haywire in the industry. So I have been putting that coaching minor to good use with my 3 little kids. I am not an expert, but I've been doing a little basketball, a little baseball, a little softball, a little lacrosse even. They should not be learning from me, but I am putting it to use.
Great.
So how did you find out about Fredonia, and what made you want to come here?
Yeah, so actually, I grew up in Syracuse, New York, not too far down the old 90. And for me, like I knew since I was very, very, very young that I wanted to be a writer, director, producer. Like this was the field I always dreamed of being in. So it kind of narrowed the field down quite a bit. You know, there was your NYU's, your Syracuse's, your USC's, your FSU's. But for me, and again, I was I'm a smart kid. I like to think I was a smart kid, but the grade point average didn't necessarily reflect that. So like that immediately ruled out the NYU's. With all due respect to Fredonia. Fredonia also offered something unique in that I've been doing this just since I was so little. Like I got my hands on cameras and editing software. So a lot of those other programs, they force you to sort of like jump into a lot of theory for like 2 years before you even get your hands on gear. And when I toured Fredonia, one of the things that immediately jumped out was they make gear available day one as a freshman. If you want to rent them out and go dabble and experiment and play, that was available to you. You didn't have to like get 2 years of theory under your belt. And that was really exciting to me as somebody who was eager to start creating. So Fredonia definitely checked that box. And also like I was really excited to do the college experience, you know, like going to like a Syracuse or something more local to where I grew up, like felt a little bit like 13th grade where, I didn't want to just do another year of local. So it was really exciting to go to like a small town where it was all about the college. So yeah, really Fredonia checked just all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
Great. Now, do you have any favorite memories or experiences from your time here? Any particular faculty that stand out?
Oh, so many. Lots of them were social because I don't know how well Fredonia is still holding up, but when I was there, I think it like held a record for like most bars in a 1 block radius. So had lots and lots of fun downtown. I was the president of a fraternity on campus. So I definitely had my fun. Lots of memories there. But specific to academia, yeah, it just was the first time that I was able to truly just dedicate all of my waking creative hours to the craft. So the memory that jumps out the most to me is for our big final project, I just like stopped doing everything else. Like I didn't go out, I didn't sleep, I didn't like, to be honest, didn't focus on any other class other than this big final project. And it really felt like it was like a great setup crash course for how the industry was going to be. Because this, I would very soon find out it was a lot of like 14-hour days, burning the candle at both ends, working on the weekends. So I got to like, I think I even set up a bed in the edit suite. And it's just like, I just lived, ate, breathed that project. And I had a great group of friends collaborating on, and it was just like the most fun time. That's definitely the memory that I think of when I remember my time there.
So what faculty supervised the project? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. So her name was Jane Jackson. I think she's since recently retired, but she was great. I mean, she was just like the first professor I think that I had. Like obviously, like high school classes are, it's not their specialty, but this was the first time like someone truly like loved the craft and was able to like throw on a scene from a film and just like break it down step by step. And like finally, I felt like someone was speaking my language, and it was just it was so great to have someone with experience from the industry and that could kind of like communicate that to the students. So she oversaw it, and she actually, like, not to jump ahead here, but taught me at the time I didn't know it was a lesson, but a very valuable life lesson in that for that same final project, there was a mandate, and the mandate was it has to be under 15 minutes. I was like, oh, well, surely that's just a suggestion. I'm going to make a 45-minute comedy that makes no sense. It's not a feature. It's not a short. It's just this endless 45-minute joke machine. And then, sure enough, it was good. Like we had a lot of fun shooting it. It was shot well. It was edited well. We packed the house. We got laughs. I was like, boy, did I ever crush it. So you could obviously predict that I was surprised when I got the grade, and it was not an A. It was like a B- or something. And at the time I was like, what the heck? Like I crushed it. Were you not at the screening? Like this killed. And she sat me down and was like, look, it was good. Like you did the job well. I can tell you're talented, but like the gig was to make a 15-minute or less short, and you did not. You tripled it. And in the industry, you would get fired, or you would get like, like it would just never see the light of day, or get handed off to somebody new if you can't follow the rules. And I'm glad I got that kind of life lesson out of my system in college, because had I like stumbled into my first job and learned that lesson the hard way, it could have my career could have ended right there. So it was a really, even though I was very mad in the moment, it was a very good lesson to learn at the time.
So yeah, that's interesting story about academics. But what I really want to know is about those bars. Do you remember the name? Did you remember the name of your favorite hangout in Fredonia?
Of course I do. Well, first, favorite is a strong word. I think I reluctantly went to the hotspot Sonny's, which was where everyone who was like 18 and didn't belong, like probably like was sneaking in there. But that's like, when you tell the stories, that's like the all the degenerate stories come from there. But honestly, like, and I don't even know if it still exists, but there was this great little Irish pub called Muldoon's at the time that was across the way.
Yep.
I loved, the owner was very friendly to me and the fraternity and the friends. And I love this charming detail was like, you had like a mug on the wall. It was like this glass mug with like your nickname or name on it. And it would like hang on the wall for when you came and you're like, oh, I'm number 252, like bring it down. And I don't know, that charm in college, just that nice touch, like made it feel like you were home, like it was your Cheers or something. So those two definitely jump in.
I do have bad news about Muldoon's. So,
I'm sure it's gone, right? Yeah.
So no, actually recently, like maybe like 2 years ago, not even, there was a fire. And it got like the side of the building or something. I don't know exactly what happened. But after the fire, Muldoon's closed. And now in its spot, there's a new bar, and it's called Raventhorn.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I bet they don't have those mugs though, right?
No, they
that
don't.
was probably not a
mugs.
sustainable idea.
I know
Disgusting
they do that
college kids.
Yes, they do that at Barbill, in East Aurora. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So you weren't able to take that mug with you when you graduated, huh?
Honestly, I probably did, and who knows how long that lasted. That couldn't have lasted more than a year in my possession as like a 20-year-old.
Okay.
Oh yeah. All right, well, kind of shifting over to your career, we know that you're working as a writer, a producer, a director. You have so many credits under your belt. Like I saw The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead. You got stuff with Netflix, with Marvel. Tell us a little bit about how your career developed since you left Fredonia.
Yeah, so it was a funny little time to hit the industry because I think like within the month or two I graduated, the writer strike happened. Not this one that just ended, the one before that in like 2008 or 2009. So it was kind of strange. It was like I was granted this like temporary stay of execution where I was like, well, there's no point in like running down to LA or New York City if like there's no industry. So I sort of like settled in, did some me time, spent some time with family, but I did get an opportunity once that strike ended to go down to New York for an internship. And again, like still ready and open to learning life lessons. I showed up as this like green 21-year-old, did like 2 days of like barely any work, and had the audacity to ask the production coordinator at the time, like, hey, so like, when does this turn into a paid gig? And she just looked at me and was like, oh my goodness, I am going to teach you a lesson. So this is a trend, right? Like I run into people who can't wait to teach me lessons. Maybe that says more about me, but she did. She taught me a lesson, and she goes, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take your little paper resume with like your car wash and short film job, like all that. Go around the building and like walk into these like established shows and like give me your resume, see how that goes over. Like pitch yourself as like ready to be hired. So I did. I didn't realize she was messing with me, so I like took my resume and like hit the elevator and went up to the first floor. And first place I went to was NBC's 30 Rock. And again, like this was just after the strike ended, so there was like chaos and like everyone was like trying to get the pieces in order to shoot by like that following week. So I went up to the guy who looked the most chaotic and was like, hey, so the lady downstairs sent me. She said, like, take my resume around. I don't have much, but like, I'll work for free. I can start tomorrow. Like, you tell me. And he looks at me, he looks around, he goes, can you start tomorrow? And that was my first job.
Oh,
like
wow.
accidentally fell into a hit like Emmy winning show by world of like everybody just didn't know what was going on. They needed someone like that day. They need like a warm body the following day. So timing is everything. Luck and timing worked out in my favor.
Well, so you have a lot of different credits. You've worked on a lot of different projects. Do you have like a favorite project? And then I have to ask, what about people that you've worked with? Have you worked with some interesting celebrities over the years?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I didn't know how good I had it, but like, I stumbled onto the production staff for NBC's 30 Rock at the time, and just like every episode, every week was just a new like A-list. So, like it was like Oprah, Tom Hanks, Jennifer
Yeah.
Aniston was like that first season. I'm like, so I kind of like was like, oh, this is the industry. This is what happens. You just like show up to work and like these people just like roll through the door. So that was like my early exposure, and like obviously like Tina Fey and Robert Carlin, they were just like the best bosses to have. Like they were just veterans of their craft, great showrunners. So I got to just like observe them. I used that as a reflection in my own work, where I would, work my 60 hours a week as an assistant, and then go home and like mimic their style to create my own stuff, like my own web series and my own like short films. And sure enough, like luck would strike again. One of those short films, like accident, like Tina was like in a dressing room one day, like trying to like snoop on people's like iTunes or something. This was like back where like web security wasn't a thing, I guess. And she found one of my things, and like it was like this like reality TV parody that like just touched all the right, pulled at all the right boxes of hers that she enjoys. And at the time, they like had to write web content. Like NBC was really pushing them to write web content, and they wanted nothing to do with it. They were like, we're writing real television. Like, we don't want to write
Yeah.
web shows. So she was like, let this kid do it. Like, who cares? Like, he seems to already be doing it. Like, work with the other, younger writers and figure this out for us. So that was sort of my way in, was like, I got to do this job that none of the other writers want to do, was to like help generate this web content and create these web series. And sure enough, like, since only like 5 people were doing it, like it got Emmy nominations and exposure, and sort of like got me opportunities elsewhere and other writing opportunities that sort of like would later blossom into what was my writing career.
Sounds like you're very good at taking advantage of the opportunities that came your way.
I try any kids coming out of college that ask me like, what do I do? Like I was like, just get lucky, man. Just like put yourself in opportunities to like also be like the kind of person people want to work with, but like just like be ready to take shots and like be at the right place at the right time. I mean, sadly that's half the game. Everyone's talented at a certain point. Like got to get a little lucky.
Great, great.
So we also saw that you, even though, it was off the table in the beginning, but you ended up becoming a professor at NYU and Syracuse. And we saw that you've also been on some collegiate panels. What is that
Yeah.
experience like to, return to that college setting?
Well, so like again, it's a symptom of the other side of the career. It's kind of funny that way, right? Like had I like not entered the industry and tried to become a professor, they would have like laughed me out of the room. Would have been like, "Sir, what qualifications do you have to teach?" And they'd be right. I would have no qualifications. But like, kind of because this industry, especially like in this corner of academia, like much like my experience with Jane and other folks, it's so helpful to have folks that have worked in the industry that the students are learning and hoping to go into. So I think just naturally, like I think my first one was like NYU because I was down in New York. They were just looking for someone who could like teach one class as an adjunct. Like they wanted someone, oh, you have a little comedy experience, you have a little drama experience. We would love someone to just come in as like a industry professional to teach this class. And I did it, and like it was terrifying at first because I was like, these kids are going to know I'm a fraud. Like I'm not a professor. But you get in there and like you have your own strengths, and you can kind of like, I just like fell in love with it because like you just kind of get to create your own little mini version of a writer's room and teach these and guide these kids through their creative and kind of shed your own experience. And it's been really rewarding too to sort of like keep tabs on some of these students and like see how they blossom into their own careers and try to like help open doors for them. It just like it feels like part of the circular experience is you got to pay that forward. It's the mentorship is just everything. And yeah, it's been a blast. And now I'm up, but because I'm working from upstate after the pandemic, kind of everything has gone remote. All my pitches, all my meetings, all my rooms. So I'm able to actually teach a class every semester up at Syracuse for screenwriting as well.
That's so
Oh,
cool.
good. So I know that you've been nominated for some Emmy Awards. You've won some other awards. So this is your opportunity now to brag about yourself.
Well,
how
if
did that
only
feel?
I got to be honest. Like, I know like people with the right thing to say is like, it's just an honor to be nominated. I am batting zero. I have like 7 Emmy nominations and 0 wins. And I got to say, like, as fun as it is to go to those parties and those award ceremonies, it is not fun to go over 7. But no, I'm mostly kidding because those things are great. And they're just so much fun to like be in the room and be around all those great, talented people. I feel like the only times I have won or like we won like a PGA award or something, and it was in LA, and I couldn't make it. So like, the one time we did one, I wasn't even there. I did win
Oh.
2 Writers Guild awards, I want to say, so I was able to go to those because there's an East Coast version of that. So
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
again, it's just fun. I know like it's just a thing people say, but like the award side of it doesn't really feel as like it's not like what you're doing it for, not like you're not like doing it to win the award, but it sure does feel like fun to like be included in the company of all those great people and just go like celebrate work for that weekend.
So at these ceremonies, I mean, have you had conversations with some pretty famous people? Did they surprise you at all or anything like
Yes and
that?
no. I mean, I think I'm just again from that 30. I was just so exposed to like, oh, this is how the world works. That like once you get there, I think my biggest thing, my first ever nomination, I went out to LA and like they put us up. It was this really cool thing. I am like the biggest Game of Thrones fan. Like it was just like I remember like I would have like these amazing opportunities Sundays at 9. Like someone's like, oh, you got to come to this thing. I'd be like, so sorry, I have to watch Game of Thrones live. So that's like how big of a nut I was. And I remember that very first award show, they like put us up at the Four Seasons and we touched down and I like go up to the pool just to like relax. And I look up and I'm like, wait a minute. There's Tyrion Lannister, there's Jaime Lannister, there's Brienne of Tarth, there's Jon Snow, I was like, it's just like all my friends are here. And like you kind of do this weird thing where like when you're obsessed with something like and you watch it all the time, you like forget that you're not actually friends. So like a minute I was like, hey, what's up, guy? I was like, oh wait, no, yeah, they don't know me. They don't know me. I just watched the show. We haven't actually hung out or whatever.
Oh.
But no,
That's
so that was
funny.
really cool. That was like a kind of one of those wow moments of just like play it cool, man. Like just hang out like you belong.
That's fun. That's fun.
Oh. So I guess kind of looking at everything, did you feel that your time at Fredonia helped to shape your career and where you are today?
Sure. I mean, especially all the obviously like the lessons, the experience, the expertise, just like the ability to make mistakes in that setting and like learn from them early on and like experiment. Like that was just invaluable. But honestly, like one of the big things that I encourage like if there's whether it's high school students trying to pick the right fit for college or whether it's college kids trying to like navigate that scene correctly, I really feel like joining the groups and the clubs, like for me, it was like the fraternity. And like, I know like everyone's like kind of knee jerk first reaction. But you hear fraternity, you're like, oh, you're just goofing around, getting drunk or whatever. But for me, it was actually like, it was this great like microcosm and representation of like how the world was going to work when I got out. Cause like suddenly you're dropped into this little scene with like 50 to 70 or something, like very different personalities. And like leadership structure and like you're running for positions, you have responsibility, and you have to like learn how to like work with people and like navigate people and like become like the best version of yourself and a good communicator. So like I would just honestly like I would say I would point to that as a huge part of shaping like the maturity aspect of myself, of like readying me to actually go out into the real world and the business side of it. Like I think that was truly invaluable. So I do always encourage folks like get involved, do groups, like do extracurriculars, go out, like meet people. Like it's just such an important part of the college experience. And that for me, that was a huge part of why Fredonia was such a good fit.
Well, in talking to you, I can see how introverted you are, and I guess, and I guess you've come out
It's
of your
all
shell.
projection. It's all just like the most insecure, shy weirdos are just like trying their best to play a character. That's what I think I am in deep down.
Well, it sounds like you've had a very, very rewarding career, and I'm sure we'll hear more good things about you going forward.
Yeah, I'm actually due to pay a visit, like a little residency in 2 weeks of Fredonia. So it'll be the first time I'm back in at least 15 years. So I'm really excited to see how the campus is looking and shake hands, meet
Yeah,
some kids.
I'll try to make it over to some of that stuff, and
Yeah, I'd love to.
we can have a further chat.
Please, I'd love that.
Well, that just about wraps up our interview for today. Nick, is there anything else you feel like you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Oh no, just I'm just really excited to come back and visit. Thanks so much for having me on. It was really good, kind of walking back down memory lane there and realizing just how much of an impact Fredonia had on my on where I ended up.
Well, thank you so much for appearing on our podcast today. So, in closing, I am Dr. Jack Croxton.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Sing its glory and its praises. Let them ring forever true. Beloved is our alma mater, Fredonia still.